Welcome back to my solo drive from Auckland to Queenstown. Let me tell you about my perfect day on this beach on the South Island of New Zealand. Occasionally I woke up rather disoriented in the van, and it was getting rather cold being that far south at this time of the year. On this particular day, fully disoriented and seeing everything red around me, I ran outside and thought the car was on fire, but instead it was a sunrise and what I believe to be dolphins. If you're a marine biologist and they're not dolphins, don't ruin the magic for me. After that kind of morning, I really needed some coffee, so I headed to a nearby cafe and enjoyed breakfast next to the heater. They don't tend to have central heating in every place, so I would recommend bringing a sweater and finding a chair the closest to the heat source in the room. The adventure I had planned for the day took me to Wharariki Beach. Apologize if I messed up the pronunciation, but it's most commonly seen as a Windows 10 desktop or entry screen or whatever you call it, and I would highly recommend you look up the tides. I just happened to end up going there at low tide, and I think it made all the difference because the amount of beach space available was the largest flat beach I've ever seen, combined with all these amazing rock formations and places to just meander and explore. I had a fantastic time. Okay, I don't know if this looks familiar to other people, but this is the desktop background on my work computer, which is one of the default Microsoft backgrounds. So here's the actual view if you walk out of the cave. It's nice visual framing, but I also have to appreciate this is just pretty amazing out here. I spent 30 minutes trying to figure out the framing of the shot, and that's the best I got. So the beach keeps going and I have time, so I'm going to keep walking that way. The parking space is actually fairly small, but it's kind of remote, so I can't imagine there's a lot of people coming out there. I ended up on a weekday, which I think ended up for the best. I only ran into a couple of different people, and for the most part had the beach to myself. Now the trail that I found had a loop function to it, so you could kind of go along the beach and then up into a pasture, which is actually occupied by cattle and sheep. That being said, I developed a small fear of them. So yeah, I'm just keeping an eye on the cow. I'm just moving along. This is a designated trail. It's all good. He's good, she's good, I'm good. It's all good. That was until the trail went through kind of a valley that I wasn't going to get through with the cows that were there, so I went back. Well, I was going that way. But there's cows, and I'm not going to mess with that. So I'm going to walk back, I don't know, half a mile. They can have that fork in the road. If I was to do it again, I would probably just go out and back on the beach. I had a great time going back along the beach and then back through the wooded trail that takes you to the parking lot. I was getting a little bit of a concerning look from this wild bird, but it was fine. I then went back to the campsite with a leisurely pace because I had a long couple days ahead of me. I really appreciated having a very nice hot shower and a place to prep food. So it's been a week since I got to New Zealand, I think, just about. It's been amazing. It's just been not exactly what I was expecting, but better, I think. And tomorrow starts my longest leg of travel because from here, I'm heading to Queenstown. So I'm at the north end of the South Island of New Zealand, and I need to get to Queenstown for a couple of things I'm doing before I leave New Zealand. But that's going to be some pretty long days of travel. I booked it so the first day of travel was the longest, just so that the second day was a little bit more chill and I wouldn't be as pushed on time. Everything so far has gone according to plan or better in the one case with Wellington, and yeah, this campsite has Wi-Fi, so I'm uploading a bunch of stuff now, and I'm not really sure where things are going to go next. Next couple of days are going to be kind of tough solo travel days, but my campsite sent an email and it said the dangers of the local parrot population. So I don't know, it's just gonna keep being weird and interesting, and I look forward to seeing what comes next. I spent the next couple days traveling south along the west coast of New Zealand's South Island and discovered a new hobby. I learned a new word today. It's called gold fossicking, which is like just recreational gold panning. So I have a dustpan and a soda bottle, and I am distracted from actually getting to my next campsite. So I'm just taking a walk to try to find the spot that is designated for it. There's a whole lot of weird circumstances leading to the events of me with a dustpan in the woods on the other side of the world. So yeah, stuff happens. After playing in the creek bed for another 20 minutes or so, I had to continue on because the day's drive included about 8 hours of actual driving time. I did stop and check out a couple more things before getting to my next campsite, which was one of the most remote ones that I had along the whole route. It's 6 a.m. last morning, waking up in a van. I think the moon is setting over a lake nearby, so I'm going to try to capture a picture of that before I head out. I have no cell phone service, so I can't really do too much of my planning that I usually do when I wake up, but I think I know where I'm going to go. So the answer was I had to find coffee first, and again, New Zealand continues to impress. This place was amazing, and everybody is on their coffee game. And then I was ready to continue on the rest of the journey to Queenstown, where I had to get there by the check-in time. I did stop to check out the waves and also made sure to stop at Fox Glacier because that was one of the stopping points that I had for this trip. The trail to Fox Glacier was one of the less eventful, but I did get a view of the glacier once I got there. I only stopped a couple more times on my way to Queenstown, where I walked from the rental place to the hotel that I was going to be staying at. I did barely arrive on time because the roads were closed further south I went due to ice and snow. Made it to Queenstown, dropped off the van, so now I am just enjoying a walk. Not gonna lie, it looked closer on the map, but I mean, just kind of looking at stuff as I'm walking. It's very nice. But
turn right onto Sugar Lane.
Okay. Albeit a little bit cranky, I arrived at the place I was staying, and this is where I'll pick up next time. Thank you so much for watching. If you're inspired by any of the things that you've seen in this video, please consider liking and subscribing so I know to do more like this. Thank you so much. I hope you have a fantastic day.